So October hasn't been a very good month, to say the least. A lot of people looked at data based off of past cycles and expected us to go up, but instead we've only been going down. Just like last month, people looked at data based off of previous years, expected us to go down, but instead we went up. Or even when you think about earlier on in the cycle when a lot of investors expected retail to flood the market, buy the shinier new coins, but instead retail came in and they bought the dino coins. But pretty much what I'm trying to say here is no one can actually predict what's going to happen next. So if you're looking at old data trying to understand this market, I don't think it's going to help you whatsoever, because I believe all that data is dated information. This cycle is different. And this cycle is tough. Everyone needs to adapt and understand that moving forward, that information that we used to look at to try to justify things is no longer useful to us. That's why we've seen Bitcoin pump, then meme coins pump, and then random utility coins pump, skipping Ethereum, right? We're not seeing the same pattern as we used to see before. Matter of fact, because of dated information, a lot of investors have been chasing random pumps at all-time highs because they'll do anything to make a quick penny in these sorts of market conditions. And I get it, I really do. I understand how frustrating it must be to see your portfolio go nowhere, just trade sideways or go down, and then you have these random coins just taking off out of nowhere. So you want to naturally just rotate some money into those coins that's been exploding. I get it, I really do. But you got to ask yourself, how desperate are you to lose all of your money? Because if you want to lose all your money, you could do that all day. You could do that all day long, and eventually you're going to run out of money. So this is where patience come in. I tell you guys that all the time. Now, I understand some of you might be like, okay, well, how do I find the next narrative that's going to take off? Because the best thing to do is be early to a narrative and obviously have conviction in the coin that you buy. Well, the honest truth is it's going to be very challenging. You're never going to know which one of these coins is going to take off next, what the next narrative is going to be. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is conduct proper research. So make sure you're active on something like X. Make sure you use tools like DeFi Llama to check out the TVLs on some of the L1s. This is how I was able to find SWE right before SWE takes off, right? You just got to use all the tools. Make sure you're active. You're paying attention to like the news and stuff, what Trump is saying, what Trump is doing, what's the latest in crypto, all of that helps build some sort of understanding of where the next narrative is going to potentially be, where the next rotation is going to happen. What I recommend everyone doing right now, come over here to CoinMarketCap, click on the More button, scroll down to where it says More Categories, and just go through the categories right here. You might see something that you never knew existed, and you might start doing some research on it, and then next thing you know, you find the next rotation. You never know, but you got to try. You got to put in the time. You got to put in the research. But yeah, if you don't want to put in the time and research, then maybe you just don't want to change your life that badly enough. So think about that one. All right. But in this video, I am going to talk about some altcoins that I believe is going to go on a pretty nice run after the current correction is over. No one actually knows when the correction will be over, but eventually the correction is going to be over. So these are some altcoins that I believe are some pretty good options to consider putting into your portfolio. But you need to remember, nothing here is financial advice. I could always be wrong. Make sure you guys doing research. Now, real quick before I get into things, for anyone looking for a great crypto exchange, check out my link to BTCC. You get 10% bonus on first-time deposits, extra bonuses up to $10,000. It requires no VPN, no KYC. If you're someone that trades using leverage, you get to use up to 500x leverage. The link will be in my description down below for anyone that's interested. All right, so if we kick things off here by taking a look at the crypto bubbles, another red day in the market. We see this coin right here continues to rise. It's just, I don't know, man. I still haven't looked into this one, but I don't buy things that's already been going parabolic. But the joke is, someone bought something like this today based off of not research, just based off of the price going up. And maybe they even saw people talking about, hey, pour money into this. Now you're going to get rich. And then, they pour money into it and then the retracement happens. We see it time and time again. I just don't understand how some people just do not learn. But again, I haven't researched this one at all yet. But all I'm saying is in terms of price action, people just need to stop buying things that's already exploded and just wait for better opportunities. But getting into the first coin here on the list, it's going to be ZBCN. All right, now Zebec. I've talked about this one a lot of times on my channel. Right now, the price is at 0.0036. This is in the payment sector, and we know that payments is going to be massive moving forward. So you cannot ignore anything that's in the payment sector. All right, what I want you guys to notice here on the chart is this thing has multiple touches at this support level right here, which is at 0.0035. So it's got a touch here, actually going all the way back here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. So about 5 touches. So it's safe to say that this is going to act up as a pretty nice support level. What you guys do notice, though, is during the massive crash just over a week ago, ZBCN came down to this price, 0.0025, which was another level of support where it fell down in July, right? Beginning of July. Okay. During this time period, when the market came crashing down to its knees, a lot of altcoins came crashing down, giving back every single gain over the last couple years. ZBCN did not do that, because if it did, ZBCN would have came all the way down here to 0.0007, but instead it came down to this support at 0024. So what that lets you know is that the community is willing to buy the dip and the community is willing to hold this thing. Now, if you have never heard about ZBCN, Zebec Network, I highly recommend you look into it. I've made multiple videos on it, but you can just come over here to CoinMarketCap, scroll down to the About Zebec Network section, and you could just take a look here. So decentralized infrastructure network for real-world value flows, founded in 2021, Zebec has attracted 35 million in investments from Circle, Coinbase, Solana Ventures, Prayer Capital, Republic, and Lightspeed Venture Partners, among others. All right, so yeah, very cool project. Definitely want to check out. You check out the FTV, 368 million market cap, 344 million. So a lot of the tokens is pretty much in circulation. It does have some dilution that happens every single month, but not that much. Like the amount of token that's going to be unlocked moving forward is just 1% on every single month. Matter of fact, it had a token unlock not that long ago, and honestly, the price didn't really budge. So that lets you know that the community, again, is just extremely solid and willing to hold this thing. If we come to X and we check out what's going on with ZBCN here, what people are saying about ZBCN, let's see here. So ZBCN man said that he just recently bought the dip on ZBCN, and the proof is right there. Also, let's see here. Price target of 67 cents for 2026 late spring. Okay, so yeah, the community is solid. Definitely want to check out. I highly recommend it, but that's the first coin here. Now the next one here is pretty obvious if you ask me. I always tell you guys that you need some sort of perp dex in your portfolio. And when you think about the fact that CZ from Binance was trying to get everyone to rotate into something like Aster, that's clearly an indication that he was threatened by something like Hyperliquid. He knows the future, right? And CZ was trying his thing, but Hyperliquid seems to remain on top, if you ask me. All right, now I want you guys to really pay attention to something here. Look at this chart. So Hyperliquid went to as high as almost $60, right? Then it starts to come down. So right now the chart isn't looking the greatest. It's making lower lows and lower highs. Okay, but during the crash, during this dip here, what Hyperliquid did is it came down to $21. So this was about a week ago when the crypto markets came crashing down, right? Came down to $21. A lot of the coins in the market, what they did was they gave away all of their gains prior to April lows. All right, so Hyperliquid's April lows was pretty much $9.87. It did not even come this far during the massive crash. Most altcoins did. They came down to their April lows and lower than their April lows, but Hyperliquid came down to $21 here. So that tells me that investors are holding on to this thing for dear life potentially, because they know the potential here. Again, if CZ seems to be threatened by something like this, right, that lets you know a lot. Okay, now I'm not telling anyone to buy Hyperliquid right here, but what I am saying is if you want to get a position in this thing, look to get a position in this thing around $33. And if you see this thing at $21, that's a golden opportunity. And if we get a Bitcoin crash, so when I mention a Bitcoin crash, I mean Bitcoin under 100,000, Bitcoin somewhere around like $70,000, then you might get a golden opportunity or a oh, this would just be a buy of a lifetime if you see Hyperliquid sitting at $10. Now, you guys want to be prepared, right? You don't want to be caught off guard. So set your limit buy orders if you're looking to get something like this. But again, I always tell you guys, do not ignore the sign. And if CZ from Binance, one of the, if not richest man in crypto, because I think the last time I checked, he was worth somewhere around like, I don't know, something in the billions, right? If he's threatened, at least it appears to me that he's threatened by something like Hyperliquid, I strongly believe that you cannot ignore something like this project right here. All right, so I've talked about something payments, I've talked about perp decks. Now I got to talk about something RWA because we haven't yet seen a RWA season yet. But if it does end up happening, we need to be well prepared, right? And if you want to be as prepared as possible, you got to be looking at like the leaders. So we're going to talk about something like Ondo, which is sitting at a $2.34 billion market cap. And I know that most of you already know about Ondo. Some of you probably already hold Ondo in your portfolio. I want you guys to check this out right here. This was posted 3 hours ago, okay? So Ondo is quickly emerging as a leader in tokenized stocks with over $313 million in TVL. It already represents nearly half the $661 million tokenized equities market. And this still feels like the early stage. BlackRock, NASDAQ, and even the SEC are pointing towards tokenization as the future of financial markets. The traditional stock market is a $60 trillion space and is starting to open up. Ondo has a lot lined up. Mainnet launch is coming. US investor access is being enabled through Oasis Pro, and major institutions are already circling. So yeah, Ondo is doing big things. This is a leader. And if you're someone that is sick and tired of chasing narratives, then like I said at the beginning of the video, you got to be early. The best thing to do is be early and just have some patience. And eventually there is going to be a rotation into the RWA sector. I don't know when it's going to be, but most likely it is coming. And when it comes, you don't want to be caught off guard and you are left with no money. You got to sell something to buy something like Ondo or buy another RWA play, right? That's not what we want to do. We want to get into these projects early and we want to wait. There's lots of good RWA projects, but it's very hard to tell which ones are going to be the most successful. You know, the lower the market cap is, the riskier the asset is. Ondo sitting at a $2.35 billion market cap. It's not as risky. Every single coin in the space is considered risky because you never know when the market is going to tank. But Ondo seems to be a legit one that I hold in my portfolio and one that I highly recommend all of you look into if you don't already hold anything RWA related in your portfolio. Now, if you're looking to add a little bit more risk, you want something lower in the market cap area, then you can look at something like Tauba. This is connected to Potential Tau, right? And we all know that AI is here. AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, right? And if Tau explodes, then we can expect something like Tauba to explode as well. This thing is sitting at a $23 million market cap. It's extremely, extremely tiny. And then you check the amount of exchanges that it's on. It's not listed on any exchanges. But if this thing starts to get exchanges and Potential Tau starts to take off, then you know this $23 million market cap, you can get probably at least a 20x on your investment. Again, nothing is for certain here because things can always go south, but for anyone that's looking to add a little bit more risk to their portfolio, you could take a small position maybe in something like this, right? Taubot, and let's see, the FTV is only 30 million. So yeah, that's not bad whatsoever. So yeah, this is another one to check out for sure. But let's talk about some L1s now. All right. So the first one that I want to talk about is this one right here, Say. Okay. I've talked about Say multiple times on my channel, right? Say is just a obvious play if you ask me. The price is so low where it's actually kind of laughable. This is DeFi Llama. This is, you can check out the TVL, right? We can see that it has actually pulled back. This thing was going nuts, right? And that market starts to pull back. All sorts of nonsense starts to happen in the market, and the TVL pull back for this thing as well. But right now it's sitting at 467 million, which is fine. Okay. Here's the thing when it comes to something like Say. Say and Sweet was connected at one point and then Sweet took off, but I can guarantee you guys that people are still holding Say because they expect Say to make the same sort of movement as Sweet eventually one day. Say is sitting at a market cap of 1.25 billion. This thing's got a lot of partnerships. The chain is fast. And I can guarantee you that one day a lot of investors is going to be chasing this thing the same way that they were chasing Sweet at one point, because the TVL, even though it's on a pullback, it was consistently going up. All right, so a lot of people are actually starting to build on something like Say because of how fast it is, and because honestly it's a solid project. So when I look at the price action, okay, let me go over to Say's price action. Right now it's sitting at 20 cents. Okay, during the massive crash this thing came all the way down to 7 cents. Man, imagine getting this thing at 7 cents. That would be nuts. I took a swing trade, I believe, at 14 cents. I do still have some Say in my portfolio, but during this crash I made a multiple swing trades, right? And Say was one of them. I think I took a swing trade here at 14 cents. If we are lucky enough to get another dip down to 7 cents, that's a golden buy opportunity if you ask me. But honestly, anything under 20 cents, I believe, is a great buy here for Say. Now, some of you might be looking at Say and thinking, well, Say just doesn't seem to move. Like Sui took off and we saw all these other utility coins take off, but Say has just been lagging behind. Yeah, that's true for right now, because no one saw the run on BNB coming, no one saw the run on Sui coming, no one saw the run on XRP coming. Like these things just take off out of nowhere and people just get left chasing, right? So again, the name of the game is get in early and just wait. You just have to have patience. Eventually the rotation is going to happen and it's going to hit the coin that's in your portfolio. But if you're not there waiting, then what you're going to end up doing is chasing and buy the coin at all-time highs. And we don't want to do that. That needs to completely stop. Buy low, sell high. That's the name of the game if you want to win. Now I want to talk about the last coin here, okay? And the last coin here is going to be Kaspa. Now, if you take a look here at the Kaspa charts, it doesn't look good whatsoever. This thing has been on a downtrend for the last, like, what, year and a half or something like that, right? It just doesn't look good. You take a look here, you can see that this thing crashed below a penny. That's insane. Absolutely insane. Right now it's sitting at 5 cents, like almost 5.5 cents. It's making lower lows, lower highs. But if you're someone that don't look at the charts on a daily basis, you just want to hold something in your portfolio that you strongly believe in, a very solid project and has an insane amount of potential, then you got to look at something like Kaspa. No one knows what's going to happen in this bull cycle for Kaspa, but in the long term, I do believe that this is a project that has a potential to just do some fantastic things. They continue to build, you know, there's a big, massive community around this project right here. And we all know that when it comes to crypto, you know, the community is pretty much everything, right? As long as the community is still there, you can't really give up on any project, right? Even though the charts might not be doing what a lot of investors wanted to do, but in the long term, eventually people will catch on and eventually this thing will turn around and eventually people will start to make some pretty good returns on their investment. Again, I just don't know what to expect for this particular bull cycle, but eventually, yes, I do think that Kaspa is going to do fantastic things. All right. Again, if you're trying to get this thing, would I look to get Kaspa at the current prices? That's debatable, right? It all depends on your long-term vision. It's at a decent buy point, but if Bitcoin doesn't hold above 111,000. Right now, Bitcoin's at 100, almost $112,000, but it needs to hold above this area, right? If it doesn't, if it breaks down below 100K, then there is a scenario where Kaspa could come back down to like 1 cent, but not only Kaspa, a lot of the other altcoins as well. So we cannot just be looking at any particular coin and be like, well, this thing is going down. Meanwhile, all the other coins is coming down as well. All right, that's what people tend to do majority of the time. They look at one particular coin, oh, it's coming down, so it must suck. No, that doesn't mean that it suck. It just means the overall market just isn't moving in a favorable direction. But Kaspa, very legit project, good to hold for the long term if you ask me. But there you go. I've given you all these coins that I believe are going to make people some pretty good returns on their investment sometime in the future, right? All these coins that I mentioned today are currently on a nice dip. They are at a decent buy point. But I want you guys to make sure that you don't run out of money. So make sure you guys look towards the recent lows on the charts on all of these coins and set your buy orders down there just in case we get another nightmare scenario. You want to be prepared. You don't want to be caught off guard and having to chase any of these coins. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Check out a few of the links down below. And until next time, take care.